all HO, head of institutions, head of departments, dear participants, and esteemed audience. I, Sukriti Agrawal, feel privileged to welcome you to the inaugural ceremony of National Symposium Nav Chetna 2023 with the theme Women in Science and Technology is being organized by Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya under the aegis of Center of Women's Studies, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Indore. This event is a wonderful opportunity to inspire and empower women in the field of science and technology, and also serves as a platform to highlight the significant contributions of women scientists and technologists while addressing the challenges they face. It provides an opportunity to discuss critical issues, share experiences, and inspire the next generation of women to pursue career in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge and arts, represents the free flow of wisdom and consciousness. It is believed that Goddess Saraswati endows human beings with the power of speech, wisdom, and learning. Let us all join together and bow down in the worship of Divine Lord and pledge for the accomplishment of Navchetna 2023. Now, I request Dr. Upinder Dhar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, to accord a ceremonial welcome to our chief guest, Ms. Poonam Tyagi, Group Head Space Application Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, through a digital platform. Thank you. Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya Indore is an outcome of Adrian Z, our dream and mission, a manifestation seen by the passionate eyes and vision of Sri Vaishnav Sahayak Trust. Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya has evolved to reach and hold a unique position of pride in the field of technical education system in Indore as well as across central India under the leadership of Dr. Upinder Dhar and Dr. Santosh Dhar. The Center of Women's Studies at Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya was established in the year 2022. The objective of the center is to elevate the status of women in academia and beyond. The center also aims to empower women not only in the field of research, but diversity of activities. The center will coordinating with the similar centers in the country and abroad for global networking. May I now feel honored to invite Dr. Kavita Sharma, convener and head, Center of Women Studies, to brief us about National Symposium Navchetna 2023 with the theme Women in Science and Technology. Over to you, ma'am.
Sukriti, respected Dr. Upinder Dhar sir, Vice Chancellor Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya, Chief Guest Dr. Poonam Tyagi, Group Director, Space Application Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Dr. Llewellyn K. Kehlon, Senior Fellow and Associate Director, Environment, Education and Awareness, Energy and Resource Institute, TERI, New Delhi. Dr. Neelu J. Ahuja, Professor and Head, Department of Systemics, School of Computer Science, Associate Dean Academics, UPES, Dehradun. Dr. Geeta Sikka, Professor, National Institute of Technology, Delhi. Dr. Santosh Dharmam, Rector and Dean, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya. Dr. K. N. Guruprasad, Director, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Science and Session Chair for today's program. HOIs, HODs of all constituent institutes of Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya. Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Coordinator of Symposium. All members of Center for Women's Studies, panelists, and dear participants. I am delighted to welcome you all to the National Symposium Navchetana on Women in Science and Technology, organized by the Center for Women's Studies at Sri Vaishnav Vidyapeeth Vishwavidyalaya. Today, we have gathered here to celebrate the accomplishments of women in the fields of science and technology, while also addressing the challenges they continue to face. In recent years, we have witnessed significant advancements in various scientific and technological domains. According to data released by Department of Science and Technology, over the past 2 decades, women's involvement in scientific research has increased in India. Across the ages, women have made significant contributions to science and are now conducting groundbreaking research worldwide. But despite their numerous accomplishments, studies have shown that women in science and technology professions do not advance as far in their careers as their male counterparts. Women's engagement in science and technology disciplines is influenced by various factors, including their educational paths and social considerations, such as starting families, workplace, and family environment. Continuous progress in science and technology and innovations is essential for global advancement and sustainability. Women will play a vital role in this effort and should be encouraged and provided the tools they need to succeed through access to education and employment opportunities and the purposeful alteration of social constructs that limits women's advancement in the workforce. This can be achieved by creating platforms that honor great women in science and technology. This symposium aims to shine a spotlight on the remarkable achievements of women scientists and technologists, while also discussing strategies to promote gender diversity and inclusivity in these sectors. Throughout the session, we will be hearing enlightening talks, presentations from experts who have made significant strides in their respective fields. Our speakers will share their experiences, insights, and innovative research, highlighting the immense potential that women bring to the fields of science and technology. We will also deal into the challenges that women face, from stereotyping and bias to limited opportunities for career advancement. By recognizing these obstacles, we can work towards creating a more equitable environment where every individual can thrive regardless of their gender. I would like to express my gratitude to all participants, speakers, and especially to Vice Chancellor Sir and Dr. Santosh Dhar ma'am, who have made this symposium possible. Ma'am, your commitment to advancing gender equality in science and technology is truly inspiring. Let's remember that by empowering women in science and technology, we are not fostering innovation, but also paving the way for a brighter and more inclusive future for all. Thank you. Enjoy the symposium. Thank you very much. Over to you, Sukriti.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable insights. With their relentless efforts, she strives for the progress of university. She guides the faculty members and students in accomplishing the vision of being a center for technical education in India. To express a deep sense of gratitude to our prominent chief guests and participants, I would like to request Dr. Santosh Dhar, Rector and Dean, Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishyadhara Indore, to present welcome address. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sukriti. Chief guest on the occasion, Ms. Poonam Tyagi, Group Head Space Application Center, ISRO Ahmedabad. Dr. K. N. Guru Prasad, Dean Faculty of Science and Director, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Science. Dr. Kavita Sharma, Head Center for Women's Studies, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapit Vishwavidyalaya. Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Coordinator, Nav Chetna, the one-day symposium. Our esteemed resource persons, head of the institutions, HOIs of the Constant Institutes of the University, a warm welcome to Nav Chetna, one-day symposium on women in science and technology. Science and technology are vital to the economic and social prosperity of country. These fields produce thinkers, researchers, technicians, and innovations. And these fields play a central role in solving global challenges. Despite an unprecedented increase over the past 40 years in the number of women in higher education and in employment, women still occupy a very minor place in higher level scientific and technical studies and occupations. Within this field, they have progressed considerably, especially in life sciences, biology, medicine, pharmacy, in subject areas close to these like chemistry, agronomy, and in architecture. Male hegemony remains on the other hand in the hard sciences, maths, physics, engineering, which still account for the majority of male scientists. This dominance is particularly marked in the private sector, that is industry, services to enterprises, etc. But at the same time, it does not spare the public sector, supposed to be more egalitarian, higher education and research. The gender-based segregation of academic and occupational fields or horizontal segregation is partly connected with another form of segregation clearly demonstrated by studies on the careers of women graduates, that of their progressive elimination from the most selective educational and vocational programs leading to the positions of power, vertical segregation. In all fields, in fact, including those with the highest proportion of women at the base, women graduates exceed rarely, if ever to the highest echelons. They constitute a very great majority of primary teachers, nurses, laboratory assistants, and half of the secondary teachers, often less in maths, physics, and above all technology. Data of women in tech employment as of 2023. Women account for 14% of the global cloud computing workforce. In engineering, women make up to 20% of the workforce. And in data and artificial intelligence, the share of women is just 32%. At 33%, virtual reality projects have the highest share of female developers. India has a total of 56,747 female researchers, which is just 16.6% of total researchers in the country. 10 to 30% of the young engineers, less than 10% of the university professors and researchers of the highest rank, and only exceptionally occupy presidential chairs, whether in universities, scientific bodies, or big enterprises. Men are more likely to be depicted as professionals in science, whether by name or as an illustration, while women are more likely to be depicted as teachers. These stereotypes and biases are extended to tertiary education and even in the home. Surveys have shown that parents show a greater preference for sons to work in STEM. Additionally, male students disproportionately identify their male peers as more knowledgeable about biology compared to female students who perform better. Finally, women face more discrimination in the workplace than their male colleagues, especially in more male-dominated science and technology fields. Gender bias and stereotypes are among the major contributors to suppressing women from exploring careers in science and technology. Pressure to conform to societal norms, forced marriages, and childbirth are among the daunting reasons why women in science and technology face challenges. In most households, women are majorly responsible for running the family. And this burden restricts them to an extent from pursuing their dream career. To escape from the trap of naturalization of gender-based differences, it may be useful if we add to the analysis of inequalities between men and women the changes that have taken place between the generation of women pioneers and the young women of today. Women today are breaking societal barriers and making a mark in underrepresented fields like science and technology, engineering, and other technical roles. However, with improved opportunities, women and girls are creating an impact in science and technology world too. The educational, family, and professional careers, the latter, have incontestably got closer to those of men. Many more of them than in the past are able to use their qualifications in the pursuit of engineering and professional careers rather than just in teaching without for all having to forego the role of wife and mother. Women's career paths may be the result of positive choices which work out well, a choice of occupation rather than a career, a choice of lifestyle which gives more free time for the family and also for themselves. But such choices are usually the result of their exclusion from the most visible and most highly paid positions of power, which often go hand in hand with most intense relational activities and opportunities for all kinds of mobility. That's both geographical and professional. To better identify what stalks from self-selection, lack of confidence, anticipation of difficulties, or positive choices in favor of other careers, and what is due to exclusion, more or less explicit barriers or prohibitions, we need to distinguish the key phases in this elimination: entry to studies, entry to professional life, evolution throughout the career, and to determine for each of these phases the personal, family, or professional context which is likely to explain the different orientations according to gender. We need to take into account the temporal dimension of the phenomenon as well, through comparing different generations or cohorts of men and women, scientists and non-scientists. Finally, recent changes in the role of women in society require more systematic analysis in terms of their career paths to lessen the void between men and women in science and technology. With these words, I wish you all the best for the fruitful learning through the different deliberations we'll have from great women. With these words, thank you so much. And once again, a warm welcome to our chief guest and other esteemed resource persons. Thank you. Over to Sukriti.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Your thought-provoking address has set a perfect platform for National Symposium, Navchetna 2023, with the theme Women in Science and Technology. Today, we feel honored with the presence of our chief guest, Ms. Poonam Tyagi, Group Director, Space Applications Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. It would be both an honor and privilege for me to introduce you to a role model of note, a woman of distinction, Ms. Poonam Tyagi, Group Director, Space Applications Center, ISRO, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Ms. Poonam Tyagi joined ISRO Space Applications Center, Ahmedabad, in January 1991, after graduating in Electronics and Communication Engineering from IET Lucknow in 1990. In her long career spanning over 3 decades, she has made significant contribution in developing microwave instruments for ISRO's spacecraft missions in different capacities, from lead designer to deputy project director to group director. She has been instrumental in indigenously developing highly integrated, lightweight RF systems and component technologies for many ISRO projects, like Chandrayaan 2, 3, NASA ISRO SAR, Gangayaan, and GSAT 24 projects, to name a few. She is the recipient of ISRO ASI Best Woman Scientist Award 2011, ISRO's Team Excellence Award for OceanSat 2 Scatometer 2009, and RISAT 1 2012 projects, and Shakti Award Mumbai Rotary District 3141 2023. She has 3 patents and more than 30 publications to her credit. Since the beginning, she has systematically and successfully worked towards developing Indian industries for producing high reliability RF systems and components in pursuance of philosophy of Atmanirbhar Bharat in advanced technology frontiers. Presently, she is leading microelectronics development group for realizing high power RF MMICs, chip filters, quantum and optical components, and miniaturized system in package technologies required for remote sensing, communication, and interplanetary instruments of ISRO. It's a privilege and honor for us to have you as a chief guest of the inaugural session of the National Symposium, Navchetna 2023, with the theme Women in Science and Technology. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite you to deliver the keynote address. Over to you, ma'am.
Respected Dr. Upendra, Vice Chancellor Shri Vishwavidyalaya, Dr. Santosh Dhar, Dean Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research at Shri Vaishnav Vidyapith Vishwavidyalaya, Dr. Kalita, Center for Women Studies in Shri Vaishnav Vishwavidyalaya, other eminent dignitaries, speakers, participating faculty members, and students of this National Symposium on Women in Science and Technology. A very good afternoon to all. And first of all, let me thank you, Dr. Sukriti, for the nice introduction and giving me the opportunity to share my thoughts with so many highly accomplished women who have done, or rather, wonderful work in that field of science, education, and technology in the country. I am really honored to be with you all today. Now, let me take you through a journey of time to explore the remarkable contributions of Indian women scientists, right from the Vedic age to the present day. I will just give you a glimpse. We know India is a young nation. Uh, we know India is a young nation, but we belong to an ancient great civilization. Mark Twain, the famous American writer, once said, India is the cradle of human race, birthplace of human speech, grandmother of legend, and a great grandmother of tradition. Now, a civilization can only reach such level of advancement only if its women were equal partners in the development. And there are some anecdotes and accounts of the preeminent place that women had in advancing science, maths, astronomy, metaphysics, and philosophy in ancient India. Some women personalities like Gargi, Maitreyi, Kona, Lilavati, they all are mentioned in the textual evidence, including in the Vedas and Upanishads, where them being adept and expert in science, maths, metaphysics, philosophy fields are highlighted. Gargi Vachkanvi, she is regarded as one of the most renowned philosopher and scientist in the Vedic era. She used to do even Shastrarth, meaning debates with male rishis of that time on metaphysics, philosophy, etc. And I still remember a story in our school book which was called Hamare Purvaj. I don't know whether you people have read those or not, where her debate with great Rishi Yagyavalkya in the court of King Janak is narrated. And that story has shown the seed of, I can say, becoming something in life for me. She has composed several hymns in Rig Veda that question the origin of all existence. And even today, we modern scientists are trying to find out those answers. Maitreyi was another eminent scholar of philosophy and science in the Vedic period, and she is often associated with the Upanishads, where her dialogues with sage Yagyavalkya are recorded. And also, it is believed that Leelavati, a famed mathematician, collaborated with her father, who was a very famous mathematician, Bhaskaracharya, in writing the book titled Leelavati on Algebra or Astronomy in, I think, 1550 AD or so. But then later period saw imposition of parochial ideas in society, leading to degradation in position of women, and this further deteriorated in medieval and colonial period. Various regressive practices like sati, child marriage, purda pratha, female infanticide crept in our society. Women were denied access to the basic education and were confined to four walls of house. Now, we fast forward to the freedom movement. During our freedom movement, many social reformers took up issues of women empowerment, gender equality, and access to education for women. This resulted in many women getting access to education and breaking the glass ceiling to enter in the STEM like science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medicine field, which were mostly male dominated at that time, as Madam Dhar has said. There is a long list of stellar accomplishment of Indian women researchers from pre-independence era, which many of us don't know. And let me tell you, many of them built, led various institutes in independent India. And I can name few of them. Foremost is the Anandbai Joshi. She was the first Indian female to have a degree in Western education, Western medicine from USA in 1866. 20 years later, in 1886, Kadambini Gangule, she had the distinction of being the first doctor from Calcutta Medical College and Western medicine practitioner in the whole South Asia, not only in India. Then Janki Amal, she was a renowned botanist who made significant contribution to genetics, and she became the first director of Central Botanical Laboratory at Allahabad in 1952. Kamala Soni, first Indian woman to receive a PhD in a scientific discipline. Iravati Karve, she was the first Indian female anthropologist. Rajeshwari Chatterjee, an engineer who has become the first woman faculty at ISC Bangalore. Now there are many women at ISC, but she was the first. Devala Mitra, first Director General of Archaeological Survey of India, ASI. And the list is long. I could cover only few. Then post-independence, India adopted a progressive constitution giving equal rights to all irrespective of gender, including the voting right, which our Western counterparts could get after a lot of struggle. These founders of our modern nation, they realized that if India has to become a developed country, it can only be possible through advancement in science and technology. Hence, they established Institute of Higher Education in Science and Technology fields. They have established organization in field of space, atomic energy, and many other organizations. Our first Prime Minister, Pandit Nehru. He used to call them temples of New India. And as we know that women constitute nearly 50% of our population, and for our country to progress, it is essential that this population participate in nation building. Hence, all the governments till date, they have rightly emphasized on access to education for women in science and technology, and their subsequent absorption in R&D departments and academics. They should get proper jobs also. And let me tell you about some of the leading women of our time doing path-breaking work in STEM and breaking the glass ceiling to reaching the highest level. Like Dr. Indra Hinduja, she is an Indian gynecologist and infertility specialist who pioneered the gametes intrafallopian transfer technique. Tessie Thomas, she is properly popular as the missile gun of India. She was the first ever woman scientist to lead a missile development program as a project director. We all know Kiran Majumdar Shah. She is the first woman science entrepreneur. And in 2019, she was listed as the 68th most powerful woman in the world by Forbes magazine. Soumya Swaminathan, many of a times we have seen on her on TV. She is a clinical scientist who became the first Indian to hold the post of Deputy Director General in World Health Organization (WHO), and also its first chief scientist in 2017. Gagandeep Kaur, clinical scientist again, she became the first woman to be elected fellow to the Royal Society in 2019. It was the bastion of male only till then. Then Aditi Sende, first female physicist awarded the Shanti Stupa Bhatnagar, which is a very prestigious award in science, in 2018. And this list will be incomplete if I will not tell you about some of the women scientists which are leading or led our space missions in India. Many of you might not be knowing T.K. Anuradha. She was the first lady project director in ISRO to lead a satellite mission. No, many few people know about her. Then N. She was the first lady project director in ISRO to lead an indigenously developed radar imaging satellite project RISAT-1 in 2013. And I had the good fortune to work with her on the mission, where I was responsible for RF transmitting module system development using MMICs. And one more thing, let me tell you, nowadays, under India Semiconductor Mission, ISM, our government is aiming to create a design and innovation ecosystem for electronic chips manufacturing in the country through participation of various global chip manufacturing foundries and industries. But for our RISAT-1 mission, we utilized our very own gallium arsenide foundry called GATE, Hyderabad, to design, manufacture more than 10,000 RF and microwave MMIC chips. That too in 2007 to 2011 timeframe, which has helped India join the select and exclusive nations capable of designing, building, and operationalizing complex radar imaging system in the country. And up to this date, this foundry gated is still used in various ISRO projects. Now we all know about Chandrayaan 2, India's second space mission to the moon, which was set in 2019. It was led by two women scientists of Indian Space Research Organization. Vanitha Muthaya, she was the project director, and Ritu Karidhar, she was the mission director. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many women who are working in ISRO, and they have actually worked in all these missions also, but I could name only the few. Now, as we have seen over the years, there has been significant increase in enrollment of women in science and technology program. And as per some survey, in India, nearly 43% of the STEM graduates, excluding medicine, are women, as opposed to other developed nations like the United States, Canada, and UK, where there are fewer number of women in graduation. Their number varies between 31% to 38%, as opposed to the 43% of India's number. But yet, the turnaround for women's participation in STEM related jobs in the country is currently dismally low to 14%. And for ISRO, my organization, this number is slightly better. This is around 17% of the technical participation of women, but still it is very low. And our government is sensitive to this disparity and devised many schemes for women participation in STEM field. And the reason for this disparity, as Madam Santosh Dhar has already told, these are social beliefs, growth environment is not proper, negative stereotypes about girls' abilities compared to boys in maths and science, and also break in career arises out of motherhood and family responsibilities, which is mainly responsible for women dropping out of the science stream later. Now, let me tell some of the government schemes to participate, to increase the participate of women in this STEM field. Like there is a Department of Space and Technology, DST's mobility scheme is there. It is aimed to provide opportunity to women scientists who are facing difficulties in their present job due relocation by searching career options and new places. After my husband is somewhere else, so they have to move out, and many other reasons. This particular initiative provides harmonious environment in research in early phase of women scientists, where they would like to stay active in research and attend to their social obligations also. There is another scheme, Women Scientist Scheme, which offers research grants and fellowships to women scientists and technologists to encourage them to take up research and developmental activities. In addition, DST also provides support for the development of research infrastructure and creation of state-of-the-art research under the consolidation of University Research for Innovation and Excellence, CURI, initiative in women's institutions to enhance their participation in science and technology. Another gender advancement for transforming institutions, GATI scheme is there, which also support the development of gender equitable ecosystem in science and technology. Then there is a Indo-US fellowship for women in STEM that includes medicine also. And there are many other initiatives are there to support a girl child education in science field, STEM field. And also in 2020, I think government has established 11 chairs in the names of women scientists from India at institutions across the country. The chair will be occupied only by the women who will be recognized in their respective fields, and they can receive funds up to 1 crore. So that will help. So I hope these measures taken by the government will help to unlock the full potential of women researchers and scientists in the STEM fields, leading to a brighter and even more inclusive future for all in the coming 25 years when we celebrate 100 years of our independence. And to conclude with, I would like to say that our young girls need to know about our glorious past, about pre-independence status of women education in STEM field, to be able to connect the past, appreciate our present, and create the best of the future. Thank you all. I will not take much of your time, and looking forward to listen to the other eminent personalities. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful and informative session and sharing your views on women in science and technology. Now, for the further commencement of the session, I would like to hand over to Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Associate Professor, Sri Vaishnav Institute of Computer Application and Coordinator, National Symposium, Now Chetna 2023. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sukriti ma'am. I hope I'm audible to all.
Yes, ma'am,
Yeah.
perfectly.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So first of all, Poonam ma'am, thank you so much for your valuable time and your knowledgeable speech. Ma'am, I have a query regarding this one. We are generally talk about the women reservation. So do you really think that this women reservation will impact on this thing that education of women has been increased as compared to jobs? So will it improve the job also? Ma'am, you're not audible, I guess. Network issue. I think there's the network issues there, ma'am. So yeah, ma'am. Shall we continue, ma'am? So now, without any more delay, I would like to request Dhar ma'am to welcome Dr. Neelu Ahuja, Guru Prasad sir to welcome Geeta ma'am, and Kavita ma'am to welcome Levleen ma'am. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. So now I would like to welcome Neelu, ma'am. Dr. Neelu Jyoti Ahuja. So Dr. Neelu Jyoti Ahuja is a professor and associate dean at School of Computer Science at University of Petroleum and Energy Studies, Dehradun. Her PhD awarded in 2010. It was on development of a prototype rule-based expert system for seismic data interpretation. Apart from academic teaching at university level, she is an active researcher. From period of 2010 to 2017, she has been head of Research Center, Computing Research Institute, interdisciplinary research and coordinating research activities. To her credit, she holds successful delivery of half a dozen R&D projects and consultancies funded by Department of Science and Technologies worth 1.5 crore since 2013. Currently, she is working on a research project involving developing of AI-based tutoring tools for learning disabled population. Under her supervision, 10 scholars have completed their doctoral work. Currently, 5 research scholars are undergoing their PhD work under her supervision. Uttarakhand Law Commission and Uttarakhand Human Rights Commission, Government of Uttarakhand have conferred her with Himalayan Nari Shakti Award, and Institute of Green Engineers have conferred her with IGEN Women Achievers Award in 2021. Leading Women Researcher Award in 2022, and felicitation in recognition of her outstanding research contribution in 2022, conferred by Uttarakhand State Council for Science and Technology. She has been an invited speaker on various technical and research-oriented topics at widely acclaimed forums, both national and international. She is on panel of various committees, including WHO, Promotion of Assistive Products and Technologies, DST Expert Committee for Inspection and on-the-spot review of core projects. She has also been a chair at various conference sessions and different internal and external meetings or forums. She holds 24 plus years of experience in teaching, research, and project proposal development, and has many published papers in journals and conferences at international and national level. She is a member of many professional societies such as IEEE, ACM, and ACMW, ACM Women, that is. She strongly believes in learning to be the first step towards teaching and teaching beyond formal classroom boundaries. Now, I request ma'am that please give us some knowledge on challenges and opportunities on women in science and technologies. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rashmi. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you for that introduction. It's my real pleasure to be part of this very exciting program, the one-day symposium on women in science. So it's a real pleasure. I always enjoy talking to my community, and it's always an exchange which happens when you can say something what you are aware of, and also you can learn something from the audience and from the speakers that you are listening to. So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizers for giving this opportunity to be on this platform and address so many knowledgeable audience over here. To begin, I would like to share my screen and open my presentation. Just to give some structure to my thoughts, I am bringing this presentation for everybody, and then I can begin my talk. So I hope the screen is visible. It is in the full screen mode. Dr. Dr. Ashwin, maybe you can confirm to me, is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, just a second. Just give me a second to open the right presentation. I believe the title of the talk is visible now. I believe the title of the talk is visible.
Yes, yes, ma'am, visible, ma'am. It's visible.
Thank you. So, in this presentation, while we are talking about women in science and technology, the talk that I am going to be delivering now, I have structured it into talking about why we are talking about women in science and technology. We do not talk about men in science and technology. Why are we talking specifically of women only? That means there is some issue. So I will be talking about few challenges. Then I would be talking about, say, like a woman, if you want to improve, if you want to get into science and technology, and if you want to actually ride that wave where science and technology are really the way of living for you, then in that case, what is the way forward in which one can move? So the talk is structured in a form wherein we know about some of the women, what they've been doing, what is best, and how, if somebody is wanting to move in that particular direction, what they can do, and some of the opportunities I would be discussing about. So, Dr. Poonam also, the chief guest of this event, of this program, when she was talking about her presentation, she has touched upon these points. She has touched upon that women in science and technology are less in number. There is a big gender gap. Whether we talk about women in science, in STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and technology fields, they are less when compared to men. This gender gap is existing, it is persistent, and it is glaring at us. Madam also has told about that. I'm just bringing forward some data that you can see over here. I'd like to just put focus on the point that from the last few years, we have been talking so much about this gender gap, and we are saying that women are not there in the field of technology and science. This has brought in so much of awareness that now the good news is that women have started entering into science and technology, and there are many who have entered already, and the percentages are consistently increasing. If I talk about older years, there were 9% or maybe less women, but now the number is reaching closer to 30%. So that's a good news. So there is a gender gap. Yes, there is a gender gap. The World Bank report says that there are other reports which are saying that the economic forum documentation says about the same thing. However, the numbers have been increasing. About 28% now across the world, we can see women in the fields such as mathematics, technology, computer science specifically. In US, the number is 23%. Europe, specifically in computer science oriented and ITC oriented roles, it is 19% almost. It is a very interesting case study if one can go through. It is available online. And the case study talks about what Google, very renowned organization in computer science, was thinking when it looked at its statistics. So when it is looking at the ratio of male and female in their own workforce, they realized that this number was less. They realized that this number was less 2 years back, and they were working very strongly, wherein they wanted women to join them, and they were giving them many facilities. And specifically when it comes to work-life balance, there were many exciting opportunities that were brought in by Google. And today, as on, the last year's statistics indicate that Google is almost closer to 34% women in their workforce. So my beginning of the talk is to bring to the audience very clearly that yes, there is a gender gap, but there is a positive news that this gender gap is, getting reduced. Now, let us spend a minute on thinking that why is so important? Why should we be concerned about the gender gap? Is it not okay that only men maybe, they're in technology fields? It's okay if they are there in science and technology. It's okay if mathematics and space science and all kinds of science, computer science is being dominated by men. Why should we be so bothered that women are not there in these fields? Why are we talking about this from past some years? The reason is that it is the other part of the world. The women and men, both of them are two different, both of them bring two different aspects to the table. When any men and women are sitting and having a meeting and they are having a discussion, there will be a completely different perspective, a different angle, which will be brought about this other half of the world. So there are multiple angles to the problem. There are multiple ways of creative thinking. There is equity, inclusivity. There is representation of women in that kind of a problem solving, and complex challenges of the world. The diverse kind of challenges of the world can be actually solved. So yes, we all have to be bothered till we can see that there are significant number of women in the technology fields. We have to be bothered because that perspective as of now is less. That perspective should be more. Unless that perspective is there, we will always keep being happy by having only one angle to a particular kind of a problem solving. So Dr. Poonam also mentioned about many women. I'm just trying to make a beginning of my talk where I'd like to say that it is not that we are coming up with something new right now and saying that women should be there in science and technology. We are only bothered about the gap, about the low number of women. It is not that women have not been there in science and technology earlier. On my slide, you can see several examples from various fields of science and technology who have been making contributions to the world, even in spite of the barriers, in spite of the discrimination. There are women who've been doing what they are wanting to do. Whether I talk of Ada Lovelace, who comes from the field of computer science, and she was the lady known for the first computer program that she made. Whether I talk of Cathy, an MIT scientist who was the one who made an algorithm to capture the image of a black hole, or if I talk of the very famous Grace Hopper, on the name of whom there are several scholarships that are being available that women can avail. So women have been there all the while. It's only the gap that we are concerned with. Some of the women Dr. Poonam also talked about, and the other speakers before me also have talked about. I'm just mentioning here that these are the women of Bharat, and from past era as well as in the current era, the women are really using their knowledge to get into various careers. So STEM careers as well as science and technology careers are absolutely not untouched from them, and they are getting into them more strongly. Anandi Bhai, Gopal Das, I wouldn't talk about each one of them here because I think some of them have already been covered. However, few of them which appeal very closely to me is that there was a time in Bharat when, medicine was actually fully conquered by men folks. So there were men who were studying medicine, they were there in surgery, and they were there in all fields. During that time, this woman, Anandi Bhai, right in her village, she started, studying medicine by her own means with very restricted resources. And she is the first physician who, really went ahead and started doing so much to cure people who were at that point of time desperately needing a medical help. And there are other people here. One can see there is Aditi Pant's photograph, third from the lower row here, who was an oceanographer, a very recent oceanographer. Then if I talk about Janki Amal, she has been mentioned already, the one who's worked on plant and plant genes and so on. The second from the top row, one can see is Dr. Hinduja. She was the one who, brought the first test tube baby into the world. So all these are people, and we can't forget the contributions of ISRO in Chandrayaan 2 and in Chandrayaan 3 missions, where women, there were so many women scientists who have excelled in this field. So they are working shoulder to shoulder with men. They also have challenges at home. They also have work-life balance issues. However, they have learned how to manage everything. And that is the beauty of a woman, how they can multitask, how they can manage several, challenges they come their way. So talking a little more, I think this also was touched upon in the morning by the other speakers here, that why is that the gender gap has originated in the first place. There have been some sort of discriminations that have been happening at home. There were some stereotypes of the gender, that women are known to be teachers, women are known to do this kind of jobs. When it comes to technical activities, when it comes to technician roles, when it comes to mobility, when it comes to space research and things like that, women shouldn't be doing that kind of a role or that kind of a profile. They shouldn't be having. So this is a factor of stereotypes which has infected the world, and more to an extent in Bharat. We see that, there is a discrimination right from the beginning. Of course, it is changing. I'm again putting forward that there is a good news that it is changing. However, it has been there in the past. One of the points that I'd like to pay, I'd like to bring everybody's attention onto here is that there has been a lack of role models. Some of the photographs, only few photographs I have showed you in my previous slides, these are all the role models. But you don't get so many role models. The numbers are increasing. But still, there is a need for role models to come, to stand, and then the other young generation to, kind of follow them. There has been a gender bias. That has been one of the things. Sometimes some factors cause anxiety, specifically in women, towards science and technology fields. There becomes issues because women have to, balance their challenges with family responsibilities as well as their profession. So there can be work-life balance issues. However, we should all be happy to know, and it is known to everybody by now, that inside the brain of the women, it is not any cognitive biological difference wherein it is indicative that women are not able to take the science and technology or mathematics oriented carers, or they should tick. So there is no difference biologically in the brain in terms of cognitive. In terms of cognitive, there is no difference biologically between the brain of men and the brain of women. So why should women stay away from science and technology related fields? I think at this point of time, I would like to mention one of the points which I had heard in one of the other training programs, that the brains of men and women are different, but not for preference to the fields that they want to study. They are different in a different manner. So let me just take an example and explain. It is said that a man's brain is a boxed brain, and a woman's brain is a circuited brain. Let me explain what I mean. A boxed brain means that at one point of time, a man is thinking and doing about one thing. So suppose if you ask a question to a man that today there is a meeting at 4 p.m. in the evening, are you going to be available? Then the answer that will come from a man will be, yes, I am available. Or the answer will be, no, I am not available for the meeting. However, if the same question is put to a woman, I told you women has a circuited brain. So what women do is, if you ask them the same question, are you available for the meeting at 4 o'clock? The women would say, yes, I'm going to be available. However, I have another activity during that time. And for that activity, I have planned so-and-so who will manage that activity while I'm taking care of this meeting. And while I'm part of this meeting, there is another item which is there on my list, which will get postponed. So for that, I have planned this. And I'm going to get late in the evening. For this, I have made this kind of an arrangement. So one neuron, which was supposed to, think, process, and answer one question, the same, connectivity has caused other connectivities to become activated, and rest of the things are being answered. So that's the only difference in the way that men and women would work, rather that the biologically or cognitively there is no difference. So the good news is that why should anybody, a man or a woman, stop themselves from getting into a field such as science or technology? Now, I've already spoken about the reasons why women may not be there so many in the science and technology fields. And there may be sometimes a workplace culture also, which may not be very unwelcoming, which may be not very welcoming for a woman to get into, the field and just start doing what they want to do. The kind of encouragement they need, the kind of, discrimination that is seen during hiring, during promotion, during collaboration, the barriers that are created in the fields for the opportunities and for the education. There are other women, not many in number, available to support and mentor them. So this all puts one kind of a situation wherein there becomes a hindrance for anybody who would like to get into the fields. Now we've talked enough about why something may be stopping a woman to get into a science and technology oriented or a STEM field. Now let us become very positive. Now my presentation of the talk structured is absolutely positive ahead. So the commitment that we are doing now is that the gender gap has to be reduced. Women have to come in equal numbers in science and technology fields. So what should a woman do? What should a woman do? So what should be the lesson that should be given to the younger generation from our side? First of all, they should try to understand their interests early. It's always important for every individual to understand what they are interested in. So if there are young girls who are interested in science and technology, let them understand it early and let them acknowledge that, yes, I want to study science. That is my love. I want to study it. I want to get into this field. I want to understand more about this field, more opportunities in this field. There are less number of role models, but there are role models available. So find role models for yourself. Get the mentorship, get the support. Most important point, we see women talking. Women say that, men have informal settings where they can meet. Men may like to go for coffee. Men may like to go outside their buildings. They may like to connect with each other in informal settings. And then they have the right information. And when they sit in the boardroom, they have the right knowledge to talk about. They want to share with everybody. And they are considered to be more knowledgeable. So what should a women do? Should women also start, going out of the formal settings, getting into the informal settings, sit, chit chat, have tea, have coffee, keep moving around, keep, moving outside their specific boundaries and start participating? May not be like that. Most important is women should gather the knowledge from the right sources. They should also find ways and means from where they can get the right knowledge and they can build their strong foundation. Strong foundation is very, very important. They should participate in different programs. In this presentation, I will talk about different funding agencies and different programs where women can participate based on what they want to do. So they should participate. They should get into initiatives. They should get included. There is a very nice book by the chairman of Facebook. The book is called Lean In. Let me tell everybody, what does lean in mean? When you are sitting on the table, the way you sit, when there is a discussion happening and there is a woman in the meeting, in the board meeting, and she is sitting on a table, and if she is telling about something, what should she do? Should she move away from the table and just become the listener, or she should lean in? Lean in means get into the discussion, share your knowledge, talk about what you know, give decisions, try to do the problem solving in your own way. This is what this book talks about. It is a very nice book. If anybody gets a chance, you should read it. It's called Lean In. And it is by Shelley. Yeah, that's the name of the Facebook chairman. And she really is a very good talker, very good orator. If you get to hear her, I think she delivers several TED Talks and on related issues. So if these kinds of stereotypes that are existing are challenged, there will be more women coming into science and technology fields. So when I was talking about lean in, I also meant that you should yourself become part of the meeting. You should contribute. So the workplace has to be inclusive. Educational environment has to be inclusive. However, from your side also as a woman, you should try and become part of that particular environment. Developing your knowledge, developing your skills, attending conferences, workshops, events like this professionally, so that you can network, you can stay up to date, you can know about what are the latest developments. There are many websites which you can become part of, and you can try to know what is new that is happening. Build your portfolio on LinkedIn, build your portfolio on professional sites. Talk about your work and accomplishments. If they are computer science students, they should have their profile on GitHub. They should have their profile on HackerRank and many such, platforms where they can become part. They can showcase whatever work they have done. If they've done some good projects, they should showcase over there. If they have written a good research paper, if they have written a good blog, good white paper, they should put the link on those platforms and ask everybody to know. Only if people are aware of your knowledge, then only you will move ahead in your field. So women should apply for scholarships, women should apply for grants. And why do women stay away when there are leadership opportunities? They should take leadership, they should move ahead in various programs. This should have, there are very few women who are in the high leadership roles. Sometimes women themselves move backwards. Nowadays, it is not happening. Women are coming forward. They want to become leaders. They understand what is good within them. They want to lead the audience. They don't want to be led by anybody else now, if they are having that capability. So I think that is something which people should encash. However, most important for women is that they should prioritize their own self-care. They are the ones who have to take care of themselves and at the same time take care of others as well. So it's always said that first you should take care of yourself, then you can take care of others. Even on an air flight, in an aircraft, the announcement is that first you take care of your mask, then try and help others to take care of their masks. So that is most important here also. And also, women are so smart that they know how to balance their work life. So that is also a priority. One should do that. Now, coming to the last part of my presentation, I would like to talk about some of the funding opportunities. I mentioned in my previous slide that women should apply for scholarships, they should apply for grants. Almost in every field, the governments have become very active. The government of Bharat, the government of across the world have become very, very active, and they want to promote women. But interest should come from the women's side. They should apply. So what you can see on the screen right now is from United States, what are the schemes that are there? India itself, what are the schemes? European Union, United Kingdom, what are the different schemes? One thing which is common in all these schemes, though the names are different, is that all of them are promoting to advance women in academics, in sciences, and in engineering careers. Some of the schemes are also for institutions. If they are taking measures for women to come forward, and if they have many initiatives for women, even the organizations can be funded. That kind of a scheme is there in Japan and in Singapore also. And many other countries are progressively trying to imbibe such kind of schemes. Dr. Pratibha spoke about it. However, I'd like to mention that yes, Department of Science and Technology is the one which has a number of women scientist schemes. Kiran is one scheme which is for women scientists. There are women scientist schemes which are women scientist A, B, C. A is for women in basic sciences. B is for women who want to pursue their research after having some break in their careers. And women scientist C is for candidates who have completed their PhD and who want to advance their career by doing some postdoctoral work, postdoctoral research work. I myself am have completed successfully about 6 DST funded projects in last 1 decade on various applications of AI for societal good. This is my area, and I have done some 5 to 6 projects already funded by DST, and there are 2 to 3 more that are currently ongoing. So I personally feel, though my projects are not from the Women Grant, but I'd like to tell everybody that there are enough number of opportunities. You have to just find out about them, and programs like this are very important. Universities should take initiatives, and I'm very glad that the university has taken this initiative and they have brought a platform. And as part of this platform, we are getting an opportunity to, make everybody aware of what are the various opportunities that are available for women. And it's only a matter of going ahead and picking them up. So my slide, one more slide, you can see it talks about the opportunities in Canada, Australia, South Africa, Japan, Singapore, Netherlands. All these are various grants. So you need not have a local perspective or India or Bharat perspective. You can have a global perspective. When you have a global perspective, you will look around what kind of opportunities are available across the world. Why only India? Maybe after a few years, you're not in India, you may be somewhere else. So what is that, is around you, and in what way can you actually go ahead and conquer that thing which you want for yourself? So finally, I would like to come to the end of my talk by saying that now the scenario is different. Earlier, we used to talk about women are being exploited, women are not entering into science and technology, women are not getting into careers. This is what we used to talk about. But now we should be talking about this. Since we already have women, we should talk about supporting women, mentoring women, and having more women. And there should be equal opportunities for both men and women. There shouldn't be any gender labels. It is only you become part, let your talent be known to everybody, and face the challenges which are there, breaking the barriers and inspire each other towards the progress. So with that, I think I would conclude my talk. Finally, telling everybody that there are opportunities around you. One has to just go ahead and use them. And I'd also like
color experience ये पर ये होना चाहिए. You should also be there in the team too, no? मतलब you are going to learn many things. पता है जो practically आपको काम आएंगी मैम. ये सब काम नहीं आएगा पढ़ना लिखना. इन चीजों से अपने को पता है आगे के लिए अपना को समझ आएगी मैम किस चीज को कैसे डील करना है दुनिया में डील.
Raksha ma'am, please mute your mic.
So I am open to question and answer in case if I have any questions.
ठीक है आप कर लो मुझे नहीं बोलने तो मैम आपकी वेल विशर इसलिए मतलब एज ए फैमिली बोला मैंने मेरा पॉइंट.
I have concluded my talk. Thank you very much for the patience listening. And I am myself enlightened with the kind of discourses that I have heard from Dr. Kavita and Dr. Poonam and Dr. Dhar. So I'm really very happy. It is enlightening for me. And with this, I am closing my talk. Thank you very much. Over to you, Dr. Rashmi.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for knowledgeable speech. We will definitely go through all these scholarship proposals and all. And audience, attendees, any queries for the ma'am? Any panelist? Any query, any discussion you want to continue, any point you want to put regarding related research and all? Okay, one question is there, ma'am. Ma'am, Kulkarni, I'm asking for book name that you discussed about. Lean in, I guess, right? Ma'am, unmute yourself, ma'am, please. Neelu, ma'am, you are mute actually. Please unmute us.
Yeah, so the name of the book is Lean In. It is by Sheryl Sandberg. Women Work and Will to Lead. That is the name of the book.
Okay. And Dr. Arshia Parveen is asking about the WOS schemes are only for non-professionals, then that about the professors.
No, what is the minimum thing that the scheme needs is that you should be a PG in science. So even if you are not currently working, still you can apply.
And Rachna ma'am is asking that for engineering PhD, which journal publications are compulsory now?
Nowadays, SCI is being preferred with more competition that is happening around. SCI has become essential.
Yeah. It is on demand actually in
Yes.
research. Any other queries? Yeah. What is the age limit for PDF? Dr. Barna is asking.
For PDF?
Yes. Ma'am, I guess it is as soon as possible after 4 years of PhD, right?
Yes, yes. There is no age limit. For PDF, there is no age limit. However, each of the schemes have different age limits.
Yes.
Some of them are early researcher schemes, so they may be under 40, under 35 actually, and 5-year relaxation for women, so under 40. And for many other schemes, there is no age limit for PDF specific.
Okay. Any other questions? I guess this is it, ma'am. This is all. So thank you so much, ma'am. One basic thing I came to know that the difference between the brain of men and women. That is something interesting. And seriously, it was a hypnotizing presentation. So thank you so much, Niga Ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So cognitively, no difference, actually. Biologically, circuit-wise, that is the difference.
That is different, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So now, in between us are another eminent speaker, Dr. Geeta. Geeta Sikka ma'am is there. So Dr. Geeta Sikka is a professor and the head of the Computer Science and Engineering Department of NIT Delhi. Prior to this, she served as an associate professor and head of the Computer Science and Engineering Department at NIT Jalandhar. Throughout her career, she has held various academic roles, including head of the Computer Center and associate dean at NIT Jalandhar. In 2004, ma'am completed her MTech in CSE from Punjab Agriculture University, followed by her PhD in Computer Science and Engineering from NIT Jalandhar in 2013. With over 27 years of teaching experience, she dedicated her expertise to NIT Jalandhar from 1996 to 2022. Ma'am has an impressive publication record with more than 50 research papers in international journals, including some renowned SCI Cuban journals. In recognition of her exceptional teaching skills, she received the Best Teacher Award at NIT Jalandhar in the year 2019. Furthermore, she actively participated in various courses, conferences, and expert talks across multiple domains. Throughout her career, ma'am has taken on the role of a coordinator and principal journal chair, leading numerous STCs, FDPs, and conferences. She has also been a guiding force for 8 PhD students and over 50 MTech students in diverse research areas, including image-based signography, cybersecurity, software fault detection and modularization, fog computing, web service clustering, sentiment analysis, and deep learning. One of her significant achievements is being the recipient of a copyright for one of her software creation. Geeta Sikka ma'am is an active member of various societies and activities at both NIT Jalandhar and NIT Delhi, actively contributing to the academic community. Her proactive approach is evident through the organization of various courses and workshops in the Computer Science and Engineering Department at both NIT Jalandhar and NIT Delhi. Today, ma'am will enlighten us with her knowledge in science and technology related to women. Please, over to you, ma'am.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Am
ma'am,
I
you're
audible?
audible. Yes, ma'am,
So
you're
thank
audible,
you
ma'am.
so much. Thank you. First of all, congratulations to all of you for holding this symposium on women in science and technology at your place. And very rightly one. Actually, I was not keeping good health also, but because these people requested, so I'm here to talk to you for a while. So, ma'am, Dr. Neelu, she delivered so very well that I'm so mesmerized and by after listening to her, and I haven't prepared any PPTs, but I'll be in general speaking to you. So, as she's already discussed that this topic, that is the women in science and technology, it is of paramount importance to our society at the moment. And this is of utmost importance because we believe that women, they together form 50% of the population, right? We are half of the population. So we limit our potential. If we do not involve women in science and technology, we'll be limiting our potential for innovation, for collaborative research and everything. So in my 27 years of experience, I have seen how the involvement of women is growing each day. You know, I joined NIT Jalandhar. I'll be talking in general only. 27 years back, and we were hardly any women at NIT. And now, if I see NIT Delhi, we are more than 50%. So that is how we have encouraged each other to become a. Am I audible? Actually, I'm catching up from my phone. Am I audible to each one of you?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, ma'am. Clearly audible.
So we can see how beautifully the girls have come out, and this is because of the revolution, also the technology revolution that has taken place. The role of AI also, with the help of smartphones being available to even the remotest of the places, where girls sitting in villages or remote places also get to know how women are getting smarter and catching up with men in every sphere. So, uh, as we all know, historically, women have been always underrepresented in fields of science and technology. And now, yet, even in the face of adversity, many have made groundbreaking contributions. Madam talked about Marie Curie's pioneering work in radioactivity to, Lovelace's foundational contributions to computer programming. So women have made it in every front of scientific and technological advancements. And young girls, we see succeeding in STEM these days to believe that they can achieve greatness in the fields. And we have role models like Jemison, who was the first African American, a woman astronaut. And we have an astronaut, Kalpana Chawla herself, who was an aerospace engineer and the first woman of Indian origin in space. She flew from the Space Shuttle of Columbia in 1997 and once again in 2003. So we have also heard about Fei Li, a leader in artificial intelligence, who inspired the next generation to dream big. Also, we've heard of Ritu Karidhal, who is an aerospace engineer and who played a key role in the success of Mars orbiter. Her leadership and technical expertise contributed to India's achievement of becoming the first country to succeed in maiden Mars mission. Then also talking about Gagandeep Kang. So these are some people from India only who have contributed. So India has produced remarkable women in the field of science and technology who have made contributions in the respective fields. And they serve as inspirational figures and they contribute to advancement in Indian society in notable ways. Soumya Swaminathan, who was a pediatrician and a clinical scientist and who worked on tuberculosis and HIV research. And she served as a chief scientist at the World Health Organization. Then we also hear about Aarti Prabhakar, who, being an electrical engineer, head the US Defense Advanced Research Projects. And then talking about Sunita Williams. So these are few names, who was an astronaut of Indian descent and who spent a significant amount of time in space. So all these have contributed immensely. And the present scenario we see is increasing number of women entering the STEM fields now. Organizations worldwide are recognizing the value of diversity, and they're taking steps to ensure a more inclusive environment. And the journey is far from over. Women still face unique challenges, from unconscious biases like Madam talked about, to a lack of representation in some kind of leadership roles. So, despite all these progresses, the challenges are still there. And the women in the STEM field face lack of mentorship also, some type of imposter syndromes, and sometimes even blatant discrimination. So it's crucial for institutions like the one who's holding this symposium, Center for Women's Studies. So they are the best place to address these issues head on. So they can provide support, they can provide resources and platforms to women to thrive. So science and technology benefits immensely in case we have participation from both these sides. So educational institutions should, I believe, play a pivotal role in shaping this future of STEM. So by promoting gender equality, offering scholarships that ma'am already addressed across the globe, she's shown you what all scholarships are available, and then also creating these mentorship programs, we can pave the way for more women to enter and excel into the fields. So to all you young women, so I urge you to pursue your passion, whether it is in any field: biotechnology, astrophysics, computer engineering, artificial intelligence, data science. So women are everywhere. So the world needs your perspective, your innovation, and your spirit. So, and to the educators and leaders also, I implore you to continue your efforts in supporting women in STEM, recognize the challenges they face, provide them with the resources, and most importantly, we should all believe in their potential. So that is it. And I would conclude by saying women have always been pioneers in science and technology, often working behind the scenes. Sometimes their efforts go unrecognized, underappreciated, but it is time that we bring their contributions to forefront, learn to celebrate the achievements, and also ensure future is great for them. So with those words, I would like to congratulate once again the organizers of this program, and looking forward to more such in future. Thank you so much.
Participants, panelists, any questions? Any point that you want to discuss?
So I would
Actually,
also like to
yeah.
put on record that with the kind of students I've always had, the girls have been outstanding, whether it comes to putting their efforts in the form of presentation, or delivering in the front of audience, or any kind of report writing. I have seen that the girls do a wonderful, wonderful job altogether.
Yes, ma'am, it's true. Girls are more creative than boys.
Yes.
So although we know that, ma'am, you are not well, you are suffering from viral. So still, you came here and deliver your lecture. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And we will pray for your good health. Get well soon,
Thank you so
ma'am.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thanks so much. My question is there, I guess. Just
Sure, please.
yeah. Okay. The name is not mentioned here, but the question is how to tackle marriage things during research.
Marriage things. So abhi ma'am ne bataya कि girls have that capability to multitask.
Yes, she can.
So
We have.
they can strive good balance at home and at workplace. And which is, I believe, men are not that good at it. All women are born with the capability to multitask. So I've been doing this, and believe all women with kids, they pursue their higher education. When they're married, they go for jobs, they manage the household, they learn to manage their research, they learn to manage their classes. So whatever comes their way, they multitask. They, divide, that is, divide the thing, and then they manage it very well.
Yes, it totally depends on your management skills.
Yes, it is actually your management.
Yes, ma'am. So one question is also there that
Yes,
after
please.
how many years assistant professor will become an associate professor?
The thing is, madam, the rules are very different at different places.
Yes.
If we talk about place like NIT, then even after 3 years, a person can be an associate professor. He or she can directly move from 6,000 to 99,000 scale
Mhm.
for 8,000, and then after, it's actually 6 years period. 6 years. So if you enter at 6,000 with PhD, you go to 8,000 after 3 years, and then you move to 9,500, which is an associate professor scale, in another 3 years.
Yes.
So it is 6 years. And if you are working in a central university or any state university, I think the process is simpler. Even after 3 years, a person can become associate professor.
Yes, I mean, it again depends on the rules and regulations of the
Yes,
universities, right?
and then there
Yeah.
are certainly, you need to qualify. There are certain parameters on which you need to qualify. You should
Yes.
have certain number of marks achieved on your, these marks are based upon, your contribution to research, how many papers you have published. So all those, you need to earn those credit points. Actually, they are not marks, they are credit points. So there are, around 50 credit points to move to an associate professor.
No, I think it is common for it is engineering also.
No, it
Actually,
is
she's
different.
asking.
Actually, we have a different system at NITs,
Hmm.
at National Institute of Technologies. It is the credit point system is different from the central universities. Therein, probably you have some another set of points which is different. So here you need to have 50 points.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
So that
one.
is based upon आपके कितने projects है, how many patents you have filed, or how many products you have developed, how many research papers do you
Research
have.
papers.
Research papers are one more. How many PhD you have produced, how many PhDs you have guided, and also the coursework also that you have taken would get you certain marks. So that is how the total credit points, if you have more than 50, so that is the eligibility criteria only. So you are just eligible to be an associate professor. Then you have to face an interview as well. And in case you qualify that interview, then you will be recognized as associate.
Yes. Ma'am,
Anything
one
else?
question. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
One more
yes,
question is there.
certainly, certainly.
We have Tejaswini Masni.
Yes.
She is asking that I wanted to ask about the fellowship for women, but my age is 23 and I'm going to enroll in PhD upon the last week of this month. So she wants to know about the
See,
fellowship for the age of
fellowship here.
23. Basically.
See, here fellowship is given to even the MTech students as well as the PhD students. So MTech, in case you are gate qualified, you are given certain fellowship here in NITs. And in case you apply for a PhD program, then again fellowship is there, but you need to have a gate qualified thing with you, or else you need to qualify the test which is given to you on behalf of the institute. And then I think in the previous one they were talking about some PDF also. For PDF, I don't think there is any age limit. There is no age limit for applying for PDF here at national institutes.
Ma'am, actually, a few days before I attended one workshop related to postdoctoral fellowship. So in that one speaker told us that
35 plus fine.
35
Did
plus
this,
is fine, but after PhD, if you are after 4 years of completion of PhD, you are eligible for postdoc. But जितना
okay,
delay होता जाएगा, then it will be difficult
it will
to
be difficult. So
to
actually they
get
are
PhD.
forming their own sometimes, because they are all autonomous bodies.
Yes.
So at times they do frame their own criterias and rules and
Right,
regulations as
right.
well. Mhm.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am. I guess it is done from, yeah, 1 minute.
Chalo, thank you so much. Thank you.
Ma'am, one just last question, ma'am.
Yes, yes, sure, sure, sure.
What is the criteria for PDF? I think that is PhD should be there, right?
Yes, yes, PhD should be there. And I think in case at numerous places it is 35 years PDF ke liye. Plus again, there are, some AICT rules say it is +5 also. And then you should have over and above, you should have certain number of publications as well. It's not
Yes, ma'am.
easy to get in with 1 or 2 publications. You cannot get into as PDF somewhere. So they set their minimum bars, it may be
Yes.
6 papers or 5 papers somewhere. So those papers also have to be in reputed Q1 journals again.
Yes.
So reputed SCI journals or some Q1 rankings. So in case you have those, then you are very well, and also the faculty also should be willing to take you. The research ideas also should match research
Ma'am,
areas.
attendees
Hanji.
are asking for your mail ID actually.
My email ID, it is Sikka
Yes,
G.
ma'am.
It is Sikka G.
Okay.
SIKK.
Yes, ma'am.
It is
Sikkaji.
it is SIKKA G for Gita.
Yes,
Sikka
ma'am.
G @NIT Delhi. NIT Delhi.ac.in.
Okay. I'll share it with all, ma'am. Thank you
Anything
so
else
much.
they want to know? I'm please welcome to those questions.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. So,
Can I leave, madam?
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Take care, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
So now, in between us, our next eminent speaker, Ms. Livleen, Dr. Livleen Kalon. Yes, Dr. Livleen Kalon leads the Environment Education and Awareness Programs at the Energy and Resources Institute, that is TERI, located at New Delhi, and has a core competency in critical review and analysis of documents and reports related to environment education, youth empowerment and outreach, and popularization of scientific and environment topics. She has issued public statements and communication related to environment education and conceptualized stakeholders dialogues related to GEC, that is Global Environmental Citizenship. Today, ma'am will enlighten us about the world of women scientists. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi. Am I audible? And I hope my video is also working now.
Yes, ma'am, you're audible, ma'am, and visible also. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. It has been really very, very informative for me to be a part of this symposium. Such excellent viewpoints have been placed forward about the role of women, the numbers and the names and the contributions of different women scientists. So, I want to take, and I specifically asked Dr. Kavita through WhatsApp while the symposium was going on, whether students are a part of the symposium, and she confirmed yes. So, my talk, my discussion is going to be mostly with the student participants who are a part of the symposium. Center for Women Studies is organizing this symposium. It is not Center for Women Scientists. Okay, so while we are talking about the role of women in science and technology, we are also very conscious about the holistic contribution of women in the society and also in the fields of science and technology. I am a development practitioner. I am in the field for around 28 years now. And I have seen how things work and how things change, evolve over periods of time. Like I work in the field of environment education. Environment education, as it is, have evolved through several phases. So similarly, the role of women scientists, the role of contribution of women studies, these are very evolutionary fields. They would have also evolved. And for all the students who are here today, always remember in life, history repeats itself, and it is just not a proverb. It has been tested, testified with evidences, several examples that those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. So that is why, you would be wondering why such examples were being shown to you about different scientists, different contribution. It is because we are conscious that you need to be aware of the history. And that is why one of the reasons for my compilation of the presentation that I'm going to speak to you is going to revolve about the history of the role of women in science and technology and the current trends. Is my screen visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible, ma'am.
Okay. So, as I mentioned, I'm on slide number 2 now. I am a development practitioner, and at the end of the presentation, you will come to know why I am a part of this eminent discussion about the role of women scientists. So, environment education, is the building block. It is the foundation stone for us to understand about the world around us, the sustainability driven issues, and how various stakeholders can get together, work towards a meaningful change in society. And I am an associate director at the Energy and Resources Institute, and the acronym for this stands for TERI, and TERI is currently in the 50th year of celebrations. And TERI, as an institute, has contributed a lot in the field of science and technology. I would invite all of you to visit our website to understand the breakthroughs made in different parts, components, fields of science and technology, and how different women and men scientists are contributing towards it. So now, getting back to environment education, we conduct a lot of training capacity building workshops. We do a lot of evaluation studies. We do action projects. We do activity-based education programs. And these are on various thematic issues of interest to TENI, which include energy, agriculture, environment, habitat, resource security, climate, health, and nutrition. So having said that, now our my particular jurisdiction is with EA, and here we have two divisions. We have we have colleagues working across the country. In the Northeast, we have an office in Guwahati. We have an office, a field office in Mukteshwar, Uttarakhand, Mumbai, Goa, Bangalore, and of course the headquarters are in Delhi. So with this type of very, very strategic positioning, we are in touch with thousands of schools and colleges across the country, and we are helping them to learn about the environment, to learn about the principles of citizen science, and how they can imbibe within themselves behavioral change to make an impact on the environment. So these are particular keywords, these are particular attributes which every individual, every citizen, and every scientist should also have. So I'm now going to the next slide. Sometimes there's a problem, so please tell me if the slides get stalled. So 11th of February is observed annually as the International Day of Women in Science. And why a particular day, one day is attributed to women in sciences? Because the world, the nation, the society wants to encourage women to have equal access, full access, equitable access, and participation in STEM field. So this type of provision is already there in principle. But what is the problem? one of the problems is that women are typically getting smaller research grants than their male colleagues. And while they represent 33% of all researchers, only 12% of members of national science academies are women. So, if you are not at a position of a decision making, automatically the decisions are translated from top to bottom and ample recognition is not there. So and this is again one of the reasons, if you recollect my earlier slide, why do we not have an International Day of Men in Science? There is a need felt for a greater recognition of women, for them to occupy important pivotal roles that we attribute one day for women in science. And yes, these are pressing problems, and these data slips that I'm showing to you are from recognized and published literature. Now, these days, the entire world is revolving around artificial intelligence. And in this particular field, which is going to get more and more jobs to the table, only 22% are women. That is, only 1 in 5 professional is a woman when you look at artificial intelligence. So this is a very, very big gap area. And that is why a lot of scholarships, positions for PDFs are provided to encourage women to occupy an important role in these fields like artificial intelligence. Then, of course, there is a recognition that when you come to careers, uh, there are examples where female researchers, women researchers have underpaid jobs. So when this is there, it also automatically is sort of correlated with lesser representation, underrepresentation in journals of repute. So when this happens, the careers don't pay well, the publications are less, the recognition at important pivotal roles is less. What happens is they're often passed over for promotion. So this is not like a uniform phenomenon, but yes, this is happening. That is why it is being reported and getting published. So I spoke about looking into our past. So this is why it is important. Right in 1799, we had Mary Anning. And you remember, we always do this tongue twister. She sells seashells from the seashore. So this particular statement gets principal recognition from contribution of Mary Anning. Mary Anning was known to be collecting shells, remnants of skeletons, different forms from the beaches. And this collection, this passion of hers laid down was very critical in discovery of several important evidences which later attributed to the theory of evolution almost one generation later. So when we all know Charles Darwin, we know his extremely phenomenal discovery of the theory of evolution. But how many of us know about Mary Anning? So Mary Anning was an English fossil hunter. Please go down on Google and read more about it. It makes a beautiful biographic reading. Another contribution, this we are still more aware about, is about Marie Curie, a recipient of Nobel Prize. This happened in the year 1867 to 1934. There is a movie being shown on Netflix these days. It is called The Silver Skates. Please see the movie. because here, this is of course not a scientifically based story, but it catches a lot of importance about how women were deprived from getting into mainstream scientific learning at the period of Russian Revolution. So the story is based about the Tsars and how a particular lady was very, very interested in chemistry, but was not getting chances to acquire a university seat. So these stories, these movies, they are being screened and they are based on actual happenings in the past. But of course, the contribution of Ma'am Marie Curie is really recognized world over, and it is one of the first studies for the treatment of tumors through using radioactivity. Now, our very own Kamal Rana Devi. So this was a period of 1917 to 2001, very recent, and she is the recipient of Padma Bhushan. And here, she was, her contributions are very, very essential or recognized in the field of tissue culture, and her findings have contributed a lot towards the Indian cancer research. So please read about it. And she was also the founder of Indian Women Scientists Association. So you see, there was a need for setting up a body called as Women Scientists Association. It is just not Indian Scientists Association. Then coming down to 1970s again, Asima Chatterjee. Asima Chatterjee's work on periwinkle is renowned. And here again, she found out and she discovered the medicinal properties of several plants and their particular parts, which led to curing of several gastrointestinal disorders. So she was a chemistry professor at Calcutta University and again a recipient of Padma Bhushan Award. So we have already heard about Janaki Ammal. She was actually invited by our Prime Minister to set up and restructure the BSI, Botanical Survey of India. So this is again a very, very eminent example of women scientists. There are several more. Please, if you are enthused, go and read biographies of scientists. That is where you will get a spark of making a difference, of how you, if at times feel disillusioned, can learn from the failures of these scientists to be able to continue your path in the field of science. From scientists, I will move to educationists. The earliest women educationists in India were, of course, Savitribai Phule, the first girls' school in India set up in Pune in 1848. Then we have Nawab Begum Chaudhrani, the first girls' school set up in Komila, now Bangladesh. Sunita Devi, again, one of very eminent women educationists who set up a series of schools and colleges in West Bengal. Then Sarala Ray, the founder of the Gokhale Memorial School in Calcutta. So these were women educationists who laid the foundation for girls to study. So once you enter a school and institute, that is where you set up your earliest intention to pursue and become a scientist in the later week of life. Now, from educationists, let's learn about a little bit of science communicators. The role of science communicators is very, very important in our society. Otherwise, our science is wrapped up and it is left in laboratories and in journals. So these are people who actually brought the science to the masses. You must know about Narendra Bala Devi. She was the earliest educator, science communicator who about the story of Earth and Sun in Bangla. There is Iravati Karvi, a science communicator who's based her stories and writings on anthropology. We have the other names, Devala Mitra for archaeology. For mathematics, we have R. Parimala and Sujata Ramadurai. Computational biology, conservation biology, geology, climate change, and science administration. All of these are core scientific fields. And if we do not have women as educators, as communicators in these scientific fields, the knowledge will not reach the public. And specifically, they will not be a source of inspiration for other women. So that is why they are very important. Right now, times are changing, but a lot more needs to be done. Already, there are 11 chairs in the name of Indian women scientists at Indian institutes across the country, but this is just a marginal share of the total. We need to scale it up. And UNESCO has recorded that the number of women researchers from India are only 15 to 20%. So this again, it also emphasizes the importance of publication, the importance of pride in your research, the importance of documenting what we are doing. So only when we write and get our work published in peer-reviewed journals, we will meet the benchmark of international recognition. So please be encouraged and enthused to write more. So I will just touch upon a few general myths about women in the field of science. I have on purpose put this SDG grid. Please reflect on it, take it as maybe at a college exercise, as a group exercise, and list down of all the 17 SDGs, is there any particular SDG which can be achieved without the in participation of women? I don't think so. But it will be an interesting exercise to carry out, and you can project it and promote it at your institutional level. So, general myths about women in science are women, girls are bad at mathematics. So, this is something we always and often hear at the school level. The fact is, and here is the entire meta analysis in front of you, that there is no gender difference in mathematical ability. The only catalyst, I would say, the only nudge that makes a little bit of difference is the social norms and confidence of children. And that is why, we need to keep enthusing our women, our girl students, that they are as good as the boy students. Drive, motivation, self-belief. These are traits that will play an important role for girls to excel in mathematics. Another common myth is that women are disinterested in careers in engineering, physics, and ICT. I do not think so. The fact says, the statistics are again in front of you. They vary from country to country because, again, it depends a lot on the catalysts and the nudges which drive and motivate the women to adopt these engineering, physics, and other technical professions. Women by nature are multitaskers, but they also have a very inherent nature of work and life balance. So at times they do leave careers, they do move out, but the society and policies should ensure for them to come back and mainstream into professions that they had left to raise families and to look after other personal attributes which are equally important to men as they are to women. But most of the times, women take the nudge and they move out of promising careers to look after other priorities of their life. Myth 3, the gender pay gap does not exist. This is a myth. It is not does, it says does not. The fact is that the difference between men and women's earnings is there, and it is definitely because of women's tendency to at times work at part-time basis, or go for lower paid careers because they have other priorities that need to balance. Then a fourth very, very important myth is the battle against sexism in science has been won. So this is something that we should just pack in our bag and leave it aside, because the battle is ongoing. And again, taking it from your history, you have to remember your history. You have to take pride in your history to keep ahead your war, and then to be at an equity level with the men force. Now, Indian women scientists in 21st century, most of these examples have already been given to you. I would like to speak about Mangala Mani. This lady had never ever seen snowfall, and she is known as the polar woman of ISRO, and she has spent more than a year in the icy landscape of Antarctica. So nothing is impossible if you have the will to do it. Lot of others already spoken about, and they were taken up by my earlier speakers. My slides will be available to all of you, and you can take a look at it. So coming back to scientists, then educators, then communicators, we have to understand the different categories of scientists. If you are a botanist, a PhD in botany, you are a scientist. You are a PhD in crop genetics, you are a scientist. You are a physicist, you excel in nuclear physics, you are a scientist. So, this nomenclature is very important to be understood, because, each and every work profile that you are following is a part of the overall recognition as a scientist. Okay, now this is one of my very favorite slides. We say that scientists produce more scientists. We need to be in the same company to be enthused, to be encouraged to continue our work. See, Socrates, Plato, and Aristotle, they share a common lineage in learning, in a disciple teacher attribute. Socrates was the teacher of Plato, and Plato was the teacher of Aristotle. And all three of them, they have a very, very different expertise available. Socrates was a philosopher. We all know he questioned. Socrates is known for his ability to question each and every happening. And then his disciple was Plato. And Plato had laid down the basis of geometry and other physical reasoning, which contributed a lot towards the Renaissance period, the period of change. And who was Aristotle, and then we have Alexander. Alexander was a student of Aristotle, and then who was Alexander? Alexander was a king. He conquered the most of the parts of the world, and is known as the great king of Macedonia. So all these people, they had different fields of specialization. But this is the focus, and this is the contribution that educators need to give and imbibe in students, that we all need to invest in interdisciplinary learning. Only when we are knowledgeable about other disciplines, about other fields, we can pick up a particular field and excel in it. So transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary learning is very, very important, specifically in our century. Now, from scientists, now we come to children. What are the earliest traits in a child that we should recognize and cultivate and promote for them to be able to possibly move into the area of being a scientist. These traits are their traits to do work themselves. We have to do away with rote learning. We have to invest into playing, constructing, then visualizing. Then again, another important point, sitting without doing work is equally important as being instructed to do a task. Only when your mind is idle will you invest it into positive reading, will you invest it into thinking, and will you invest it into different other attributes which will make you a scientist in later part of your life. So thinking is a very, very important attribute of being a scientist, and we really need to invest in this particular attribute to be able to nurture scientists in future. Qualities of a scientist we are aware of. The most important quality is you need to be a spark, or you need to find your spark. So follow a leader or become a leader. Create opportunities where you excel in your creativity, confidence, ethics, work ethics, understanding, because these are things which will make you stand much, much ahead from your other peers. And these are also the qualities of a scientist. 21st century skills. If you go through the national education policy, they have put a lot of focus on 21st century skills. And these 21st century skills are very, very important because they are also a part of the major skills that a scientist should have. Critical thinking, growth mindset, creativity, communication. So all these skills are there, and only when you invest in these skills can you get to the root of becoming a great scientist in future. And how do you do it? You do it if you first unlearn, invest in relearning, and build up your learning about the world around you. So it is all about a period of lifelong learning. These type of symposiums that you're attending, your mid-career enhancement workshops, your online certifications that you take up, they are all opportunities for you to relearn and learn, and to be abreast to what is happening in the contemporary world around you. And why is it important? Because we know Gardner has anyway proposed and it is accepted the 9 forms of intelligence. Each and every individual has a specific intelligence that raises high in that personality. Only when you're able to understand, accept, and work on your specific intelligence can you acquire skills that will help you, enable you to become a scientist in the future. Each student who's attending the seminar today are intelligent. It is not that somebody who scores high in botany is intelligent, or somebody who scores high in sociology is intelligent. No, all of you are equal. You just need to understand the foundation on which you need to build upon. There are people who do their doctorates in music sciences. So that is again a very, very important contribution to science and the world. So take pride in your intelligence and build upon it. Nothing succeeds like success. We are again aware of this proverb. All it means is once you hit, if your dart hits the bullseye, once you are successful, another success will also follow because you are on the right track. And the key traits to become successful are self-awareness, be aware of your intelligence level, self-management, your time management, multitasking, prioritizing, social awareness, what is happening in the world around you, relationship management, that is your communication skills, creativity, passion, dedication. All of them are there, and all women are attributed with these skills, and men are also attributed. So take pride in your qualities, build upon them, and once you build upon them, strive to be happy. Only when you're happy, you're taking a pride in your role in the society, can you contribute away and apart from your labs and to your homes and to the world around you. Don't take criticism personally. If you have to take leaves, you have to leave certain careers. It is not a matter of choice, but compulsion. So it happens with everyone, so it's happening with you. But it should not stop you from getting back into the mainstream once you have looked after your particular assignment. Enjoy dealing with challenges, have multiple interests. That is why, if you have multiple interests, you will be happy and care for your health. A healthy mind, a soulful body, these are the attributes that will lay the foundation for your happiness. And you have to be happy to be able to be successful. And you are successful, you can become a successful scientist because you are already a very, very empowered and enabled human. So thank you. So that was the last slide that I wanted to show you. We have questions, anything from the organizers that we would like to take up. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such motivational session. So at the end, we came to know about the crisp of this presentation that woman is everywhere. So any panelist want to put some point or any question want to ask attendees? Guru Prasad sir, want to say something?
No, thank you. I have my turn to say.
Okay. Kavita ma'am. Oh, we have questions. After completing PhD in engineering, what we write before name, doctor or professor? Ma'am, what should be the answer? Actually, Rachna ma'am is asking this question.
Yeah, what should we write after doing a PhD?
In engineering.
Yeah, so the PhD, I would say we should always write our name and then dot PhD. So doctor, the word, doctor word should basically be for the practitioners. I don't know whether I'm answering the question or not, but the PhD is a degree and it should be written after your name. And of course, professor is over time. So it is like a gradual succession that goes on for you to become a professor. Unless, of course, we now have this new scheme in which you are a professor in practice. So that is where you can do a lateral entry and you get onto the post of a professor.
After that, we can write. Okay, so one more. I have 15 years experience in teaching. So, Rachna, what you want to ask exactly? So I think it is done, ma'am. Thank you so much for this motivational session, ma'am. So now I request our session chair, Dr. K. N. Guru Prasad, Dean, Faculty of Science and Director, SVIS, SVV, to conclude for concluding the remark. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rashmi Sharma. Dr. Santosh Da, Rector and Dean, Faculty of Doctoral Studies and Research, Sri Vaishnav Vidyapith, Vishwavidyalaya. Organizers of this symposium, Dr. Kavita Sharma, Dr. Supriya Vyas, and Dr. Rashmi Sharma, and the resource persons from various institutes. It was very educative and enlightening to listen to all of them speaking about science and technology, and especially the role of women and the participation of women in science and technology. Whenever I get an invitation from Center of Women's Studies, I'm always very apprehensive to come to the meeting because especially in programs of science and technology, since I come across a lot of negative data about less representation of women in engineering, science, and technology. But before I touch upon the points which the resource persons talked about, if we look at it from the historical point of view, since I work in the area of biotechnology, from the biological point of view, nature made no difference between men and women and maintained a ratio of 50% all through. So this is still a mystery how the ratio was maintained all through the human evolution. This ratio has often gone into some changes at certain parts of the world at times. Because if you look to the human history, men participated always in the war. It is only in the recent times that we have women as part of the war, although their number may be less, but still. And men, a lot of lives of men were lost in the war. If you look to the human history, which in certain parts of the world changed the ratio in favor of women. That is more women than men. As a consequence of wars. Even otherwise, some of the speakers, especially Dr. Nilu Jyoti Ahuja, pointed out about certain unique features of women. It is, although their cognitive ability of both men and women are equal, and this has been recognized scientifically for a long time. But when you come to the unique features, then there are still certain unique, in spite of cognitive abilities being the same, there are certain unique features which are peculiar to men and women. And if you look at the unique features in women, the natural abilities of the woman, probably science and technology came very recently into human history. It has a history of about 200 years or so. But much before that, the natural ability of the woman, probably women worked upon their own uniqueness and excelled in fine arts, in performing arts, in music, and in other things, because they were naturally more adaptable to these things. They had better voice, better looks, and better ability to do these things. And if you take the percentage of women in these areas, it will be much higher than men. But when it came to science and technology, it was, which started late in the human history, then it was recognized that women are no less as scientists or technologists or engineers, and they should be given an equal opportunity. In the recent times, as some of the speakers have pointed out, the participation of women has been increasing in science and technology. Like Madam Dr. Geeta Sikka pointed out that in NIT in Delhi, 50% of the scientists are women. Similarly, Dr. Neelu Jyoti Ahuja pointed out that women in science and technology were 9% in 2000, and by 2022, it has increased to 28%. And more and more women coming into education has made an impact on science and technology also. If you look to some of the professions like teaching in schools, like medical profession, already our chairperson, Dr. Poonam Tyagi, pointed out that in medical sciences, it is 43% participation of women, which is much higher than their participation in some developed Western countries where it is around 30 to 35%. So we are accommodating women in every field, including science and technology. But in science and technology, women have arrived late because historically they were exploring more areas other than science and technology. And that's the reason that their percentage was lesser. Of course, there is always a lot of negative data about how women are treated in terms of gender equality and in terms of other equality, which is true, of course, because of the occupational differences men and women had for a long time in the human history. So because of that, some of the prejudices may continue into other areas which may not have scientific grounds, as it has been proved in recent times. And women should also think that when did they come to education in large numbers? When did they come to study more in schools and colleges? It's only in the recent times, because women also realize that they have all the cognitive abilities to compete with men. For a long time in the human history, they did not realize that they have equal competitiveness in their cognitive abilities. And now, of course, we are moving towards equality. We are giving more and more representation to women, especially in India. Only 2 days back now, they are talking about reservation even in politics. For more representation of women who will be the decision makers of the country. All in all, we had a very good session, informative session, and I thank the speakers, Dr. Poonam Tyagi, Dr. Neelu Jyoti Ahuja, Dr. Geeta Sikka, and also Dr. Loveleen Kallon. Very eminent scientists in their own field and educators, and I'm sure their sight and their experience and their vision will bring in more women into the field of science and technology. Thanks to everyone, and thank you for the invitation to calling me to this symposium. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Rashmi.
और इस पे आपको बैकग्राउंड चेंज करना पड़ेगा
उसको क्लिक
Thank
करके
you so
हाँ ये
much.
देखिए
Thank you so
बैकग्राउंड
much,
क्लिक
sir.
है ना हाँ इसमें जाके आपको वो बैकग्राउंड चूज करना पड़ेगा
Madam
हालांकि
Dhar,
आपको ये
please,
लगा हुआ है लेकिन
Madam
आप
Dhar,
बैकग्राउंड
please
इफेक्ट
put
पे
off
जाके
the
करना
mic.
पड़ेगा सेम
Madam
ये पे भी
Dhar,
वैसे ही
please
आता है
put off
बैकग्राउंड
the mic.
इफेक्ट
Thank you so much, sir, for your concluding remarks. So now, as an organizer of the symposium, it is my honor to address one final time as we bring this symposium to a close. First and foremost, I want to extend my heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you who directly or indirectly supported this event. The presence of our participants, expertise of our eminent speakers, and enthusiasm of both make this symposium successful. I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our keynote speakers and guest speakers who shared their invaluable insights and knowledge with us. Your presentations were not only informative, but also inspirational. I would also like to thank all members of Center of Women's Studies for their generous support throughout the event. Without their contributions, this event would not have been possible. Thank you to our VC sir, Santosh Dhar ma'am, Kavita ma'am, and Guru Prasad sir for their belief in our vision and provide us this platform to the exchange of ideas and information by our knowledgeable speakers. Our dedicated technical team, the backbone of this event, who have worked tirelessly to ensure the smooth operation of the symposium. Special thanks to our attendees, without whom the symposium would not have been the vibrant. Your active participation, thought-provoking questions, and willingness to engage in meaningful discussions have made the symposium a truly enriching experience for everyone involved. Thank you once again for your presence and your contributions. I hope to see you all again at our next symposium with new theme. Thank you once again. So I request all to rise for our national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
For attendees, we have feedback link is there in the chat box. So please fill the feedback form and then you will get the certificates within 3 or 4 working days. Thank you all again.
Madam.
Thank you for joining
बढ़िया अच्छा
to
प्रोग्राम
all participants. Wonderful session.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rashmi. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am.